This week we had the Cyborgs come out, Samppa and Von Cyborg, a couple of my favorite people, mod artists from Europe, very worldly folks, always kind of interesting to talk to. I always get a kick out of having them around. So, well, once again, we're out here with our friend, the marvelous Finn, Samppa Von Cyborg, one of the world's most accomplished body modification artists, and he's nice enough to let me ask him a few questions about transdermals. First off, Samppa, thank you so much for coming out and being, so friendly and helpful to answer the questions and all that stuff for the internet, YouTube happy audience.
No problem.
Right on. And with that in mind, first off, let's start with the basics. What exactly is a transdermal?
A transdermal implant is an implant what is in the subcutaneous layer, but they're supposed coming through the skin. So yeah, that's and also you can screw different attachments on those like spikes and stuff.
Yeah, kind of like a surface anchor, only much larger.
Yes.
Right on. Now, of course, they've been around for about, 20 years or so now. And, they've gone through numerous changes over the years. And I think currently I've seen yours not installed in a person, and they seem to be, a little bit different design than, maybe what you get in the general marketplace. What exactly is different about the transdermals you make and install on people versus the older generations that maybe some people might be more familiar with?
Basically, let's start from how my developing been going. So first, my implant was really similar to all the other designs. I didn't like them. They basically they leave a big base under the skin where the bacteria can grow and causing all sorts of irritations and infections and problems. So I started doing a little bit more research and trying to figure out like what would be the ideal design. So I think it was 2005 or 2006 I found a medical study about ITAP implants. So it's basically those kind of implants what they're using for prosthetic, example, if you have amputated fingertip, so basically they can attach a prosthetic on those implants. And that implant was really similar to transdermal. Only difference is that the other end goes into the bone instead of staying just under the skin in the subcutaneous layer. And those implants were also, they had these small holes. They were coated also in hydroxyapatite, what I'm using now. And so basically they based the design in deer antlers horns. They were figuring out why they don't get infection, even that the horn goes through the skin, and they basically were mimicking the design, how the horn works. And so that was after reading the study, it made me totally sense, that's how it should be. And I had quite a few years that I couldn't find anyone who's skilled enough to make this kind of studs for me. And then I think it was maybe 6 years ago, I met Barry from Anatometal, and he said that easy, we can do that, no problem. So they started making those implants for me. Obviously they don't do the coating, and basically my first generation of this design was without the coating. It was just a sandblasted, and it works pretty well with the sandblasting as well, because I believe that the implants should be rough, not high polished. But then a couple of years ago I realized that actually the hydroxyapatite has a bigger role than I was expecting. So I found a company who can do this kind of coating for me. It is not really easy because it's purely for medical industry. And so then after that, like, this implant is like nearly perfect. There's no really, I can't at the moment, like, this, like, with this technology, this knowledge, what medical industry have or we have, there's no really room to improve. Maybe in the future, of course, things can change again. But at the moment, like, I think that this is the like best possible design.
I have to say, like, you have 17 of them in your head, and if I was to see somebody with 17 transdermals in their head, I'd usually expect, one of them to be upset or angry at any given time, maybe not necessarily in trouble and needing to be removed, but not necessarily, photo quality and ready and pretty and all that. But yours look amazing, and you've been traveling the world. You travel the world all the time. You live on the road practically, and live a pretty active lifestyle, and they don't seem to have no kind of issue or anything like that at all.
No, basically, I had my older generation implants in my head almost 10 years, like 9 years roughly. I didn't have a problem with them either, but I did have some problems every now and then, like, sometimes one or two implants got a little bit upset. Also, the healing time was like, I think it was close to 6 months. Like, I would say that they were fully healed after 1 year, when these implants took about 2 weeks, and since then they've been exactly like they are now. So, like, the healing time was way faster, way more easier, and yeah, so like I believe that these implants can last at least 2 times longer than any other designs. They can even be permanent, who knows, but we will see, time tells.
Right on. Well, shoot, what advice would you give to somebody who is considering getting some sort of transdermals in their head or anything like that? What would be your chief advice to folks?
Okay, firstly, like, you get lots of attention if you have spikes in your head, example. So, like, if you're not ready for answering all the questions, and then it's not necessarily for you. Like, you have to prepare yourself that you get lots of attention. Other thing is that depends about your lifestyle. Like, some extreme sport, for example, that these kind of implants might cause some problems. But example, riding a motorcycle, I don't think it's a big issue. I know people wearing helmets with a metal mohawk, and they don't have any issues. And also one thing what they need to know, that there will be, maybe, hopefully not, but there might be the day when you have to take them out, and that's something like that people have to understand, that maybe they're not like the rest of their life.
So you got some pretty unique, kind of cool looking ends on there. Would you mind showing me a little bit about like the decorative ends that you have on your...
Okay, so basically this is my new spikes. There's a magnet inside. There's a magnet encapsulated in titanium. These are also made by another metal, and basically you just clip them on. So like first you screw obviously this on the implant, but then after that you just clipping those implants in. And the benefit for this kind of design is that if you hit your head somewhere, you don't damage the implant. The attachment just fall off. Also, you can have all kind of shapes, and you can just make them straight. You don't have to adjust them really. They stay straight. You just clip them on, and yeah, they are just really quick to put in and quick to take out. And then you don't need to take these parts out. You can just keep them all the time. and when you want to wear spikes, you just clip them on.
Nice,
So,
nice. Well, Samppa, I appreciate you coming out and letting us film and being such a good sport about answering all the questions for the happy peoples and stuff. Of course, if you haven't started following Samppa on various social media networks, you probably ought to. I'll include the links in the section down below. Thank you so much, good sir. We'll see you next time. Well, that was my show this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, remotely entertained. I do this every week. So, dude, throw me a subscription. Might even consider sharing a video or something too. It never hurts. Doesn't cost anything. And we'll see you next week for another episode of The Modified World.